Welcome back, everyone. As we've seen with the recent Hockey Canada scandal and the many allegations of abuse across multiple sports, this is a turbulent time for athletics in Canada.
It's clear that change needs to be made, and our next guest is doing the work to make that happen. We're happy to have Minister of Sport for Canada, Pascale St-Onge, joining us in studio today. Pascale, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Very happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you were the one who cut federal funding to Hockey Canada in response to these sexual assault settlement scandals. And this scandal hits pretty close to home for our show, because back in 2019, I spoke about sort of a toxic hockey culture, and I certainly wasn't the first person to speak about it. It's been written about and studied for decades. And we received backlash at a national level. Mm-hmm. Flash forward to today, and the same kind of things that we said on our show are being praised. So what do you think has changed in the last 3 years to sort of explain that shift?
Well, I think that the Me Too movement helped a lot in getting this conversation going. And I think also that the story that we've heard about Hockey Canada, the events that happened in 2018 and 2003, were so horrific that I think it helped getting the conversation started. And the fact that we decided to suspend the funding got sponsors moving as well. Mm-hmm. And parents got involved and started speaking out, and local hockey associations as well. So, and I truly believe that to make change, we need that collective implications to really achieve that.
Mm-hmm. You have said that the only way that Hockey Canada can fix a lot of the systemic issues and gain back that public trust, which I think they have lost in spades, is to have brand new leadership. We know the board has all stepped down. So from your perspective, what should that new leadership actually look like?
Oh, it should look like the Canadian population. It should look diverse. It should look inclusive. There's 50% of the population that are women. Currently, there was only 2 women on board, so I think that we need more women, especially to have those conversations about sexual violence and consent and everything that we want the kids that play hockey to be educated about. So we need new leadership that represents Canada.
Well, in this country, hockey was at the top of the headlines, but the fact is issues of abuse are rampant across all sports. So for the first time, Canada now has a Sport Integrity Commissioner, which operates as an independent office through which athletes can report abuse and violations. But so far, only a handful of sporting organizations have signed up. You've given them until, I think, April 2023 to do so. Now, I mean, it's understandable. Whenever there's change, there's going to be pushback. But do you feel that you have the cooperation?
Yes. The reason why all the organizations haven't signed up yet is they're still going through negotiations with the Office of the Sport Integrity Commissioner, but it is going to be mandatory starting in May 2023 for them to be signed up. And the reason is that athletes have been asking us for many years for an independent mechanism that they can turn to when they're facing situations of abuse or maltreatment, so that they know that they are safe, trauma-informed also process, and that their case is going to be heard and well taken care of.
In 1989, there was an inquiry held to investigate allegations of widespread doping in Canadian sport, and many people, yourself included, are calling for a very similar inquiry into abuse. So why do you think a public inquiry is the way to go when it comes to this?
Well, I think that we need to have a national conversation about abuse in sport, because we've heard so many horrific stories. Hockey Canada captured the imagination because it was so big and scandalous, but gymnastics, bobsleigh, there's so many athletes right now that are speaking up and that have courage to come up and tell their stories. So I think that we need to keep this conversation going, and having the Office of the Sport Integrity Commissioner that can also lead investigation into sport environment, sport culture, and make recommendations and also sanctions is something essential in that conversation.
Consequences.
Exactly.
Love that word. Listen, another major issue that you're looking to tackle is better inclusion of women and girls across all levels of sport. Now, you just announced a funding initiative to address this problem. So how will this funding help to address a lot of the barriers that women and girls are facing to getting into sport?
Well, just having access to sport is complicated and hard for a lot of different communities. And we know that women and girls are participating less in sport than men and boys are. So we need to lift those barriers and make programming accessible to them and open and a safe environment. And that's where the funding is going to go.
It's wonderful.
Oh, that's me, Pascale. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for truly. This has been wonderful. We'll be right back.
Hey there, wasn't that great? Do you know where you can find some equally good content? Our YouTube page. It's filled with discussions, debates, and some laughs. Head there now, like and subscribe.